I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Delta. Vicky Vox is on the show today, and we talk about monkey men in Oakleys, bathing in sound, and we celebrate my birthday. But first, do you want to see me go off? Because I think you want to see me go off.
Oh.
Mom!
Are you a lady like me? Introspective, beautiful. Oh, are you intellectual like me? Beguiled by a bargain? You like wild times? Oh, like me? Are you serving the community like me? Well, if you are, then you must be very Delta. I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Delta, a luxury public access talk show where I look gorgeous, speak extemporaneously, and invite fascinating people to sit on the couch and get very Delta. Very Delta is for the woman who doesn't just celebrate a birth date, but a birth season. But first, let's get into some things that are very Delta. I, Delta Work, do solemnly swear to go to Joann Fabrics and take a poop, the whole poop, and nothing but the poop. It's 2025, and I am here to serve we. I feel like this year we need more personal responsibility. And I mean that in a literal sense, in a professional sense, in the sense of moving through social media. If I come to your job and your job description has you providing customer service, I don't want to hear, I don't know as the answer, because you are my first line of defense. You're the person who either should have the answer or would say, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Because see, I can't find out because I don't work there. I'm a customer. I am a patient. I am a patron. I am someone who doesn't have the information or access to the people who have the information. But if you do, I need you to exercise more personal responsibility. Now, I know we've spent the whole past year talking about people not being compensated fairly or tipped fairly or all of these different things. But if you are, in fact, working somewhere and you don't like the conditions, don't take it out on the people who are coming there. Unless, of course, they're an asshole. That's entirely different. But when people just come in and they don't know and they're asking a question, they need the information, to be so dismissive, it's not just that it's unprofessional. It's gross. It's unethical. It's obtuse. Don't do it just to prove a point. It's really, really gross. I tell you what we also need less of is just the malaise in general. Just going places and, you walk up, oh, hey, good morning. How are you? Person just looks at you. Oh, God. Start scanning things. What time do you guys close? Just like a little you guys have to work New Year's? Nothing. It's like, my God, I'm tired of trying. I really, really am. I think listen, maybe I have to turn over a new leaf. Maybe I just have to start treating people as they treat me. Honestly. Maybe people want that. Maybe people are just at stores and they're like, I feel like a peon, treat me like one. Or maybe I'll whip it out and piss all over you if that's what you want. Is that where we are? I don't want to do it, but I feel like it's getting to the point where people are like, I'm no good. And it's like, well, then maybe you just need to be treated like you're no good. I don't know. Another thing we need to go away, we need less of this year, is going to self-checkouts at different places or self-orders and asking for a tip. I don't need a computer asking me for a tip. Who is programming the computers? It's like, you know what? We need to make sure the computers ask for a tip. That way, people feel obligated. Is it 15, 20, or 25? Maybe it's nothing. It's nothing. I should be going to these self-checkouts and scanning my brand new flat screen television as a jicama or something like that, just so I can, I don't know, screw the system and take whatever I want. I'm not going to do it. You know that. I get it all out here. I fry these small fish, and then I go out into the world. I'm like, hi. Sorry. Before I go any further about this, I would love for us to return to the innocence of the things that we once loved. Taco Bell a few months ago tried doing that thing where they did favorite menu items from different decades. Why can't we do that everywhere? Why can't we bring back some of the things that we loved, that everyone loved? Del Taco, how many times do I have to beg you to bring back the orange cheese? I know it's not real cheese. That orange cheese sauce, get rid of that queso. Nobody wants that white queso. It's gross. If we're going to eat gross, let's go all the way with that cheese sauce that you pump, that pure oil, that orange diamond oil. That's what we want on our nachos, right? I want the innocent time. I want that kind of food. You know what else I want? And everyone can do it. Start bringing back those dollar large drinks. Wendy's recently did it. They didn't do it for long. I know I harp on Wendy's sometimes, but Wendy's, you're so elite. You know, I talk about how great you are. You could have extended that a little bit longer. You didn't have to be so stingy. It could have been, you could have looked at all of us like angel tree babies. You know, we deserve something. We were going to pay into it, but we deserve a little something. And you have that good Diet Barks root beer. I wanted to have one all the time. I would go shopping during the holiday season and run errands and over the river and through the woods. And I wanted to have cold beverage. And you were offering that. No one else is offering it. McDonald's, God, get out of here with McDonald's. They've tried forever to be like, oh, we have our extra value drink. $2.59 for your large drink, which is 30 ounces. No doll. You know, this summer body here, it deserves dollar carbonated beverages. It really does. And I'm expecting that. I also need more of, in 2025, people on social media, like people that are consuming social media, people that open up their Instagram and look at lunch and look at people on vacation. Please read the captions. Please read the captions. Stop looking at a picture and going, where are you in this? Well, what did you eat for lunch? Well, if it's a picture of a salad with grilled chicken on it and a piece of bread and an iced tea, didn't you answer your own question by just looking at it? But I tell you what, they probably did you a favor. They wrote in the caption, here is my salad with grilled chicken, a piece of bread, and iced tea that I had at Marie Callender's, and it was delicious. Why are people just rabid people? They just open it up. They're like, what's that? Who is that? How am I supposed to know anything? What's happening? Just read the captions. It's so easy. People will post a flyer for a show and someone's like, where is this show at? Well, I don't know. It says Hamburger Mary's. It's probably there. Well, how do I get a seat? I don't know. Remember what's this RSVP, response s'il vous plaît? That is right there. That's where you go in and you type in, I'd like to have a seat. There we go. Well, who's all in the show? I don't know. There looks like 4 pictures of clowns there. Looks like there's going to be 4 people dancing around begging for dollars. I mean, I don't know what more you need out of a description. Oh, you're offering this service. Well, how do I order it? I don't know. Link in bio. Click link in story. Follow this website. Well, what happens when I get there? Oh, for God's sake, just pay attention. Just read the description. If you're supporting people and you want to know these things, I think what happens is some people, they just want someone to talk to. So they go in the comments and they're like, does anybody know what this, and this is? You don't need to ask that question of not just strangers. Why don't you ask it of the person who posted it? If there's not enough information, ask the person who posted it. Does anyone know why she posted this? I don't know. Ask she. It is her post. You are she's friend. You are her's friend. She done already had her's. Just ask. Hey, anybody know? This is not this isn't writing on a glory hole at a truck stop. Anybody know where the good dick is? I don't know. Type it in your phone. Look it up. And then look at the description and go, oh, that person says they have good dick. That's where I go. It's so simple. It is so simple. But so many people are like, please hold my hand. Please hold my hand. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just a baby. I have no idea. How do I maneuver through the world? Really? My God. Start going to more pages this year. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Start going to more of the pages that you love instead of going into people's comment sections and just starting an argument or posting something entirely different. I can't tell you how many times I'll post a song. I love this song. This is the song I've been thinking about today, and it reminds me of this person. Inevitably, 2 or 3 comments in. Well, actually, I don't like that person. The person that you're talking about, they never remind me of this song. And I don't like songs. Don't do that. None of that. We don't want any more of that. Just go talk about the things that you do like. In fact, instead of coming to someone else's page and telling them why you disagree about baked carrots, why it is that you don't like the venue where that show is happening, instead of doing all of that, go to your page and just start typing all the things that you like and don't like. Because we want to see you go off. I want to see you go off. I don't want to see you go off on my page. It's not an invitation to come tell me why it is that you disagree with what it is that I like to eat. It's not a place for you to come and say, I know you said this makes you happy. I don't want you saying that anymore. It doesn't make me happy, so you need to stop saying it. Hey, guess what? Remember this lesson from this? Remember this? Remember this? Remember this? That's your blessing in 2025. Just stop. It's so obtuse and cumbersome and tiresome. And it's like, why are you doing that? And then you tell people like, hey, how about you stop doing that? Like in a comment section. Well, you posted, this is the public, honey. Oh God, I'm so tired of hearing it from people. First Amendment, that's where you choose to let everybody know about your First Amendment right, is in a comment section about the way somebody makes lasagna. Everybody in a comment section this past holiday season, I never put eggs in my macaroni and cheese. Well, good for you. Good, because they're too expensive anymore, right? You're bitching about how expensive everything is. Good. Don't do it. Why not just share your recipe instead of going, hey, that food you like, don't eat that no more because I don't like it. You over there, don't eat that no more. What is the point of that? It's so bothersome. Go to the pages that you love and tell people, this is what I'm talking about. This is how I like my food. Me and you agree. We are going to move through life together. Just do that. It's so much better for everyone. Stop coming to the page. It's so weird. It's so weird to me. You know what this little came to my page and said? This imbecile came to the page. A clip from me and Luscious Massacre talking about being big and being fat and being beasts. And she just comes on and she goes, obese. We just said that, you asshole. You're not adding. You're not reading. You're not topping. You're not besting. You're boring. You're not saying anything. You can't tell two monsters in drag who have told you that they're fat loaves, that they're obese. You got me. Are you serious? Are you in here? Are you inside here? Do you have friends? Do you have anyone? Do you know how to read the room? You certainly can't read a book. Do you not know how to read the room? Oh, baby. Don't play with your elders. Do not play with your queer elders. We're not playing with you. Don't play with us. Just come to the table with what you have to come to the table with. You play on your side. We'll play on our side. We spent a whole segment sitting here talking about how fat we are. And you're like, well, guess what? You know you're fat, right? No, we didn't. We were so blithely unaware. So confused. So we needed a nitwit to come in here and buzz in here and land and say something and then release their when they flew off because they can't even hold their bowels. Are you serious? Stop going to people's pages and writing shit in there that they already said. No one's interested. You're not adding to the conversation. You're literally being obtuse. You're being boring. You're getting on people's nerves. It's not even silly. It's not dangerous. It's just like, it's like somebody going like this. Excuse me. I need to talk to you. This is most of you in the comment section. Excuse me. Hey, guess what? Shh, guess what? Hey, mommy, mama. Stop it. Go sit down. Go lay down. If you want to be a turd, go lay in the yard. Don't do all that. Go pick up on the floor. Go take the trash out. Go get yourself some juice and sit down. Get a handful of, cereal and eat it. Do something. Get out of here. The grown folks are talking. And if you don't like it, if you're disgusted, if you're like, I can't believe these people are existing, they're grossing me out, just go away. Get your own podcast and talk about the things that you love and the things that you hate. Because I'm doing it over here. And I don't give a about what you don't like. Go yourself. Do you want to see me take a break? Because maybe I want to see me take a break. It's my birthday. Do you want more? More Very Delta? Here's a preview of this week's episode. Ooh, overdue. Give me some room. We're coming through. Pay my dues. In the mood. Me and my girls gonna shake and groove. DJ spinning. No hair. Let's get dirty. That's my jam. Subscribe to Mom Plus Gold today at mompodcast.plus to watch new episodes of More Very Delta every Thursday. Today's guest is a human. She's an artist, a spiritual advisor, and my very dear friend. Here for my birthday, it's the one and only Vicky Vox.
Hi.
This is
Hi,
weird
friend.
because there were years where we would see each other every single week because we worked everywhere, overlapping constantly. And then the world happened. The pandemic happened.
The world stopped.
It did. And it became this point where everyone was either reevaluated or they felt like they had to do. What happened to you during the pandemic?
First of all, I was praying for the world to stop. I was like, enough, like I need a break. But when it stopped and I was stuck on lockdown, I was working on a tour,
Right.
a one-woman show. So we were working to figure out a way to make it work for like when we came out of the lockdowns. Because we remember when it was only going to be 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen. And I kind of shifted. And I had my podcast at the time doing great, which like kept me paid and kept like giving me something to do. But in the process of that podcast, I was reading tarot cards, which was not my idea.
Okay.
It was the network executive. He said, why don't you structure the interview around tarot cards? And I said, okay. I was taking the piss. I was not serious at all. Somewhere along the way, I got serious about it. And then people started coming to me saying, hey, do you do private readings? No, but I do now. I mean, I'm not doing anything else. I'm at home. Let's get on Zoom. One thing led to another, and then I only did private readings. And then I decided I'm not going back in the club because I said, why go in clubs? So I said, I'm not going back. And then I didn't.
But see, that completely tracks because your story of being in drag in a club and working constantly wasn't your initial doing.
Oh, no. I had never
You just
wanted.
started getting booked and people, you were like, oh, wait, what do you mean I'm booked? All right.
Yes, I never wanted to do drag.
Right.
Never.
Tell us.
I was in, so like, I wanted to be on stage. So I was a performer from way back when, and I was touring at like 18 around the world and teaching. And then I ended up in a music school because I was like, let me get a certificate because I was vocal coaching girl groups. That led me to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood. So I was gigging and going to school. One of the gigs changed. The promoter changed the venue and all of this. And they said, hey, it's a drag show now and we can't pay your band. Will you still do it? I went, sure. And that was the first time I started working in drag. So I had already been working. It's just the drag part came afterwards. And then once I did that one gig in drag, I never stopped working in drag.
Well, and I mean, I've had this conversation with you and other people have heard this conversation where you say, I didn't ask for the work. Like,
I didn't. I did not. Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I was eating frozen tacos, and like I just wanted to survive.
Right.
So I didn't ask for the work. What I did was I followed the movie Party Monster when they told people how to like go around the club and get seen and where to be in the photos and all of this.
Right.
I went out to clubs every day for 30 days and never asked for a gig after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went out, I did a lap in each of the clubs, met the promoters, met the DJs, introduced myself, made sure that I was in photos with them. So when they tagged them in the little Odyssey magazines and whatnot back in the day, that you had to see my name because I was first when the photo was printed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I never asked for the gigs. And then I never asked to host shows. That was given to me. And the next thing you know, Detox took me in as her drag daughter.
Right.
Because we were working together and we were ridiculous and partying together. And she just kind of wanted to hang out. She didn't adopt me because she wanted to have a daughter. She adopted me because I was there.
Yeah.
And then we just never stopped working. I remember loathing it and loving it.
People want to be around somebody that looks like they're having a good time. And you've never, in my mind anyway, you've never had to fake the funk. It's always been pretty obvious if you're having a good time or you're not having a good time.
Correct.
And that's important.
Correct.
That's really, really important. So I think when you're on the microphone, you're giving everyone the opportunity to have their good time. But there's also been opportunities where you're like, this has to be corrected right now.
Immediately.
And you show them that I'm going to have to hold your hand and I'm going to have to tell you what's going on.
Yes. Some people I had to hold by the back of the neck. Correct.
Right. And so it's interesting that like now, all these years later, you know what I mean? You are doing something so different, but maybe so similar.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. All those years on stage, dealing with wild personalities, getting people like wound up, liquored up, and sending them out into the world. Now I show up to turn people down and like slow down and be present. Like for me, the applause used to be the thing. Like you knew when somebody was laughing, you were on the right path. You knew when it landed, when like the crowd hit. Now I know I'm doing my job when someone who is so anxious and like can't sit down in the regular day-to-day life, with me, they spend an hour and a half doing a sound bath or a meditation or shamanic journey, and they fall asleep for the first time in the middle of the day because they're not a nap person.
Right.
But for me, they fell asleep.
Right.
That's huge. It's the same thing, just the other side of the coin.
Do you think that you've like, well, I know just based on our friendship, like that you've always been in tune with just, I guess for a blanket term, spirituality, right? So you've always been open to that. I can remember like one late night in Palm Springs talking about a birth chart and like me and you just reading stuff to me and me going, wait, what do you mean? Like, what do you, and I'm like, how is this so accurate? And you were like, there's truth to this, for especially if people learn how to analyze and apply and realize that not everything has to be so literal. Like this could be suggestions about a different portion of your life. But now, like, was there a point where there was more clarity? Because I know, like you're saying, there's a sobriety thing. Does that provide more clarity? Or when you're speaking with spirit, as you say? Because the terms are new to me, many of them.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I got sober is because spirit, like my ancestors, my guides, my angels, God themselves was like, hey, we need you to focus and we need you to be really present if you're going to be the vessel for this healing energy and this like love that you say you want. We're trying to give it to you and help you spread it and share it and use it. So we need you to be present. So like there was no clocking out for me after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and what's interesting is like I can remember, again, our last consistent interaction was obviously before the pandemic. And I can remember when like people would sort of like ha ha he he when you would say like we would discuss like conspiracy theories that to other people seem so fringe.
Yes.
Or
I love them.
Yeah. Or like, and so now fast forward to now with TikTok, which has been around for, only a few years really. And everyone's like, hey, what do you think about these drones? What do you think about the idea that the moon landing was not real? And like these were regular conversations.
I was having all the time.
But everyone was like, well, that's bizarre. Like that couldn't possibly. How
Or
could
like
you give
the
that
aliens that live inside the earth.
in the ocean?
Yes,
right?
I was saying
and
all
now
of
it's
this.
like people are like, oh no, the actual NASA has come out and said like, no, here's the documentation. How does that feel? Does it feel weird, or is it something as a kid you've always sort of felt these things and people look at you differently?
Well, it was really bad as a kid because I was talking to those beings. And like, I remember one of the first things that I said that like everybody in my family, I was literally beaten to not talk about these things. I was visited by the man in the moon. I called him the man in the moon. Now I know that he was a tall gray being. And there was this other like ape man that came to visit me, and I was screaming in bed like, Mom, there's this, he's right there. And I thought he had like Oakleys on. Like he was like a tall ape man, and I thought he had Oakleys on. I think he's wearing sunglasses. And then he walked forward. He came out of nowhere and walked forward, and before he got to the other wall in my bedroom, disappeared. And so I had to like wrestle with that. And my mom was like, you've got to stop talking about this. And my doctors told me that I just had a vivid imagination and I probably had a fever and all of this stuff. So a lot of my life, I like kept it quiet. But what's wild is I was randomly watching a documentary because I was always curious and would go down the rabbit holes. You know, if you go too far down the rabbit hole, it gets weird and like alt-righty and like.
Right. Why does that happen? That is so funny you say that. It does
It gets
do that.
weird and alt-righty and then like
Why?
white supremacists all of a sudden.
It so does.
It happens every time. So just go until you're uncomfortable and then come back.
Because you look at like people online, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so into paranormal activity, for instance. And you start watching, you listen, and you're like, wait a minute, where is this going? Why are you?
It's a quick.
You're not open at all.
No, it's a quick turnaround. And I don't understand how.
What the fuck?
That one happens. And then it's like there's usually a white woman will dip into spirituality and be like, oh my God, crystals and herbs and like buy this book because like all you need is.
Why?
And then they go, I'm back in Christianity. So it's like, oh, you actually had to do the work and face yourself and you couldn't.
Right.
So you went back to somebody else having your power.
Fuck.
But the point was, I was randomly watching a documentary and out of nowhere, I hear them talk about these like monkey men.
With Oakleys.
You're not going to believe this. The photo they put up was an illustration like of someone describing what they had seen as a child. And I saw it and freaked out because that's exactly what I saw, but I saw it in the 80s. And I had never told anyone about that.
Well, and there's like, there's so many things where like this phenomenon of people who can describe something that they've seen and it's documented, and then other people will have never even read about it or heard about it buried in a book somewhere. And then they look at it and they're like, so I just wonder, like, I feel like maybe you have to have this clarity that maybe you're born with, maybe you hone it. I don't know. But if you've seen something like since you were so young and then you learn to communicate as you go and then you learn to like introduce that to other people, I feel like it is something that can be developed because
100%.
You know, I for instance, paranormal things we'll say, which is I think could be different or maybe connected. I've never really been afraid of that. When I hear something and I'm like, it could be this, I feel like as the believer, you have to be the skeptic and go, listen, there's water leaking in the other room.
Right.
Just accept that.
Right.
But also accept that sometimes you cannot explain things.
Right.
Right?
Yes. I will say you are a very intuitive human being. Also, you're an Aquarius. So
Is that good, bad?
well, you intellectualize things. It's an air sign.
Right. Too much. Maybe.
Some people might say that you think you're better than them, but it's actually just you think better than them.
Oh, I like that. Did you hear that? It's not that I think I'm better than you. I think better than you. And I'm better than you. Let's take a break. Do you know what's very Delta? Engagement. Don't just sit there like a lukewarm bowl of soup. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and diving into these rich, juicy conversations in the comment section.
Have you douched with rose water, like me?
Stay connected, stay engaged, and stay very Delta. We are back with Vicky Vox, talking about, among other things, the Monkey Man and the Oakleys, which, you know, it's so easy to like to laugh something off. And I know any of my friends that are who I consider to be highly spiritual or whatever are willing to let other people's scoffing roll off their back because there's so much of it. Because people are afraid to go, wait, this could be real. Like what I don't know could be real and it could question everything that I've ever known.
Yes.
But isn't that what we're here for?
It is. But I will also say this, me personally, that's also why a lot of people back in the day, I was really rude to. Because I was so sensitive and I was just trying to protect myself. So I used to snap at people. I used to pop off. I had a vicious mouth.
Well, I mean, yeah, you would, I guess, go off. You know, this is an opportunity for you now. Is there anything, we like to fry the small fish here.
Okay.
Right. So any small thing that other people think isn't that big of a deal, but to us is a big deal. Is there anything happening right now in your life that is a small fish that needs to be fried?
Yes. But
Okay.
I feel like it's my whole life.
Okay.
Like if I'm minding my business, it's not that I'm not minding yours.
Okay.
Like it's not personal.
Right.
I'm just minding my business.
And
I'm actually not thinking about you.
Right.
So, but people take like offense to that. Like I don't owe anyone a reason as to why, like, I'm sorry I checked out for 3 days minding my business.
Sure.
And I didn't talk to you for 2 weeks.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think that's so true because I find that the relationships that I'm going to have forever don't require an explanation or why did you change your mind in this or why do you present this way or what. It's like you should be able to pick up where you left off and go,
right.
Guess where I was?
Correct.
Guess what I was doing? And it's fun.
Correct.
Like it's not I think a lot of people think everything is personal. And it's like,
yes. And then it goes and it ties, I'm sorry, maybe it's not a little thing. Maybe it's just a big thing for me.
It is a big thing.
Because it ties into this thing of like, if I have a problem, I'm at the point in my big 40 years, I'm not going to tell you that there's a problem. And if I do address it, don't make me the problem for addressing it. So when I step away, like if I really have a problem and I just go, okay. And then I'm quiet. Don't make me the problem for exiting.
Right.
You were the asshole.
I wanted to tell you this story that happened. That just your greatness is something that I don't think you knew in this way, and I kind of fell into it as a Vicky impersonator. And the reason that is because this past year, there was an event that you helped put on the map called Beecher's Madhouse.
Yes.
You put that on the map and everyone knows that. And I got a call from Kelly Osbourne.
Okay.
And said, we are bringing back Beecher's Madhouse for a 3-day run. And I'd love to know if you would be available to come in and perform. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. She's like, we're looking for like what Vicky did. And and she's like, but do your own thing. Like she wasn't throwing any shade. She was like, do your own thing. And I said, oh my gosh, yes. Like I totally remember what Vicky did, but I had never been there before.
Mm-hmm.
So she agreed to bring me in and the check was lovely. And the car was lovely and all of that, right? And so I got there and there were people when I walked in. I just had like my regular clothes on and I just had some makeup on. And I think I had a beanie on or maybe a scarf on or something. And people were like, oh my God, how have you been? I haven't seen you. Where have you been? Oh my God, it's been crazy. Like none of us have seen each other. There was like this lady with these big boobs.
Yes.
And she was like, oh my God. She like came up and embraced me. Everyone just assumed like, they haven't seen you in so long. They thought, well, maybe she cut her hair, like maybe something different. I don't know. And then I went out to do my number, and it was what they had recommended based on what they saw. So Kelly was like, I think this would go over well. And I went out to do it, and I realized like Vicky would have all of these people eating out of her hand. And they're not even looking at me. Girl, I promise you, they would not even look at me. And
that's a hard crowd, though.
But that's a testament to what it is that you did and what you cultivated. The entertainment that they were trying to fill could only be filled by you. There wasn't
so wild.
It was crazy because I was thinking to myself, like, no, I know, like I carry you very, very high in regard. But to watch it go like, well, shit, yeah, I'll go fill in for Vicky. Like, it's cool. Like, I just do my thing. And I realized You don't have a thing here, girl. She had a thing here, and they can't recapture
Well, you know what it was?
Sickening. It was sickening. I'm just telling you, you were
You're
so
speaking
loved.
about one thing, and I appreciate that because the Beecher's Madhouse really was a family. Like we
It
really
was your
were.
thing.
We were a freak show and a family, and we've lost a lot of the little people along the way. But it was a very specific little pocket, and it wasn't even like really what I did all the time in drag. It was just there,
Right.
and it was specific for that audience because it was just a wild time. There was a lot. I want to say so much.
I know you do.
Can't say so much because it's a different era in the world. And like to do what we did then with like everybody would be canceled. And the fact that like, I mean, I was on TMZ because of a lot of stuff that happened in that place. And, sorry, I had to swallow because it was just so much. But I was going to tell you, it was so specific that one time, and it was like when DWV was happening, we brought in Detox and Willem. And Jeff Beecher said, because I mean, it's like his gig. He said, this one, talking about Detox, you can stay. Vicky, don't bring that one back.
Oh my God.
Because it was just so specific, which was wild because we were a thing out in the world. Like they flew us to Dubai together.
Right.
But here in Hollywood, they were like, we're cool. We're cool. But that was then when everybody was like Willem had just come off of the show and was like doing great.
Right.
It was wild, but I'm glad you went and did it. I'm glad that you're now part of the Beechers family.
Baby, I walked out of there and I was like, I did not make a god bit of impression. Those people were like,
I mean, mind you, I had to work really hard. So at one point, I was like the lead singer of what we called Tiny Kiss, which was me and a bunch of little people as like a Kiss band.
Okay.
So I was singing like Kiss covers, dressed as Kiss in drag with little people playing air instruments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had just been Oompa Loompas. And like there was the one little person flying across the ceiling during the song with a magnum of champagne, and they would like stop our song to play I Believe I Could Fly as they fly a little person across the room and drop them to the table. And when we were in Vegas, the little people like they came out, and this is like, I do not condone this now in my life, but they flew a little person out of an elephant's ass with the magnum of champagne. So
what did he have on Oakleys?
So that was happening all the while. Like this was also the only job I ever got fired from. Well, wasn't really fired, but it was.
I think I remember that moment. It was kind of a deal.
I got removed from the building, was escorted off the premises because I was also a terrible person. And they asked me to do a very specific number. It was Whitney Houston had just passed away. And they wanted me to do a Whitney Houston tribute song. And I said, I don't do impersonations. And they were like, well, can you just do this one time? So I like got my little wig and my little sequin gown and like was like, okay, we'll do I Want to Dance with Somebody. To like get the crowd worked up. I'll sing along with it, whatever. So they sent out a little Whitney impersonator first onto the stage. And this whole time I had been telling them, I will only do it if you give me the bathtub, because our burlesque dancer had a bathtub. And I was like, I want to start in the bathtub. And they were like, no. And I said, no, well, I'm not doing it then.
Yeah.
So they promised me the bathtub so I could get out of the bathtub singing because it was an asshole. And that's what this show was very in your face.
Right.
And so they ended up not giving me the bathtub, but I had already prepared props. So I came out on stage and I had like a rolled a blunt that I was smoking on stage. Okay. And then I took out my bag of powder and threw it on the ground. And then the little people were cutting up massive lines on the stage. And as that's happening, I'm singing I Want to Dance with Somebody and like, Bobby.
So it's more of a tribute than an impersonation.
100%. Right. And because I was like, you asked, this is what you're getting from me.
Yeah.
And then after that, I took out the pipe and was lighting the pipe as I was singing. And then the little people, and now patrons of the club were rolling around in the flour, the powder on the ground. And at the end of it, Evan Ross got on the microphone and said, like, I love you, I respect you, but that's not cool. And because it was such disrespect, because it was, I got escorted from the premises and asked never to return. And then that was on a Wednesday. And then that Friday, when I didn't go to work, they called me at 1 a.m. saying, where are you? don't come back to work. Don't do that again.
Oh my God. So you never been back?
No, I did. Literally the next week. I got
Oh,
fired and then rehired.
Fired and rehired. Okay.
Yeah, because it was that kind of club.
Evan, you didn't like it, sis?
Well, I mean, so like Evan Ross is Whitney's godchild.
Oh, wrong Evan. Evan Ross Katz?
No, this is different.
Oh, different. Never mind, sis. I know you'd like it.
No, I'm talking to the one that was married to Ashley Simpson at one point.
I can't ever say Ashley without saying Ashley.
Ashley?
Ashley Simpson. Let's take a break. Do you have something on your mind? Perhaps a burning question. Or maybe you just need me to go off about something. Well, now's your chance. Email me at readmedelta@gmail.com and you just might hear your question on an upcoming episode of Very Delta. Don't be shy, baby. Send me an email. I'm just sitting here burping, by the way. I'm like
stunning.
Trying to quell
like
the
I
burp,
said,
but
better
I'm like,
an empty house than an angry tenant.
Right.
It's the way it works.
Say it. Where's it? Say it there.
Better an empty house than an angry tenant.
We are back with Vicky Vox. This is the part of the show where people send in letters.
Okay, stunning.
Yeah, it's called Read Me Delta. And if you want to send in a letter.
Wait, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
It's really great that you would like to do that. And I will allow you, this is your show, to move on. But can we do something else first? Like really quickly? Because I see this little nice thing. And I see these ballons behind us. The ballons.
The ballons.
I would like to sing you happy birthday.
Oh,
if that's okay. Yes. So I'm going to give you one that is the tradition of the lineage from which we come from. And it goes like this. This is your birthday song. It isn't very long.
Hey.
Okay, that's it. Now blow it out. Because, well, actually, wait. I'm going to do this one, and I want you to blow it out when I hold the note. I won't stop holding the note until you blow it out.
Okay.
Okay? Because I used to work at the Macaroni Grill. And this is what I had to do. Okay. Tante agore a te. Tante agore a te. Tante agore a te. Tante agore a te.
Thank you. That was there's men crawling all over the cake.
Delta, happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you for
you
being
beautiful
here.
blessing.
I'm so happy you're here. This is perfect.
Okay, before I let you carry on with your show,
Uh-huh.
I did come prepared before I knew it was your birthday. I knew that like your birthday was coming up and I didn't want to miss it again because I haven't seen you in a while. So I brought you things.
Okay.
This first one is a present from me in my current life to you.
Okay.
I'll let you open it.
Thank
and
you.
it can help
Wow.
you zen out and meditate, or even like if you wanted to clear spaces, you can use this Tibetan sound bowl.
And how, like, does it explain it?
Here, I can show you. Here, hand me the bowl.
Okay.
Here.
Oh my God, I'm so intrigued. This is so cool.
So you hold it like this. This is the striker.
Okay.
And there's several ways you can strike it, literally, but like this.
Oh, that's so pretty.
Right? Stunning. Or you take the suede part and you just go around and you just sit here and let the sound hit you.
It's so soothing.
She's very soothing. So in my sound healing practice, the purpose is to get these frequencies to align with these frequencies and these frequencies to align with these frequencies. So
How do you know?
you can resonate.
You just know.
You'll know. Like if you have anxiety, this is a really good, it's like an activity and it's a really good way to.
I have so much anxiety
Like
about everything.
before you have to like do a thing, just and breathe. And then the act of making the bowl sing is really meditative.
That is so beautiful.
You can also just let it sit in the corner because she's stunning.
That is beautiful.
Little
Thank
instructions
you.
that it comes with. And
Thank
then
you.
this
That's so
I
More?
brought because, yes. So this is because I know how much you love what is in here. And I bought it for myself and decided you needed it because when I was watching TikTok one day, this woman said that it smelled like a big-tittied woman with her tits out in the sun eating fruit or being fed fruit.
Wow, that's a description.
And I needed you to have this in your life.
Ooh, I already like this box.
Yeah, and she's a perfume oil.
Wow.
Cabo Nida.
Look at this bottle.
Isn't she gorge?
Whoa.
What does it smell like, though?
Put some on. You have to. Oh, my God.
See?
I feel like I'm in the sun with no blouse,
See?
with no bra, no tits.
Just...
Tits in my armpits.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. It is really beautiful. And the oil, it always like lasts so long.
She's cute.
That's so beautiful. Thank
Well, yeah,
you.
I'm a Moroccan.
Moroccan roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
God, that smells good.
Isn't she gorge?
So we're gonna answer some letters.
Let's do that now.
Okay. A lot of times these letters will sit around because people will write them in with the hopes that someone they know is going to be on the show. They just don't know when.
So you save them. I
So
really
we save
appreciate
them.
that.
Yeah. Doug does that. Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Dear Delta and Vicky, happy birthday, Diva. I just celebrated my 39th birthday and had a very strange realization. There are so many of my friends who didn't make it to this chapter of my life. Some of the people I thought would be lifelong friends ended up dropping off, or we had some sort of falling out. Sometimes it makes me sad and I wonder what they're doing, while in other moments I accept the fact that they're not in my life anymore. What are your thoughts on growing older and not having people in your life that you thought would be lifelong friends? Hope this question isn't too heavy. Thank you for everything. Love the show. Love you. Miguel from Arizona. I mean, we kind of talked about that a little bit.
Sometimes life just happens. You grow apart, and there's season, reason, lifetime.
I think that's true.
But I've lived so many lifetimes in this lifetime that
Right.
there's not many that are still around.
Yeah.
I don't even talk to my family.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough when you realize that, I always say people always say oh, well, you'll get over it. Whatever's happening in your life, you'll get over it. When you're having a hard time financially, you'll get over
You
it.
get over it.
You broke up with somebody, you'll get over it. I mean, I don't feel like we ever get over anything. I feel like we go through it.
Go through it.
Like you have to feel it, you have to hear it, you have to smell it, you have to taste it. You have to do every bit of it, I feel like, in order to go through. And then you come to the other side and realize something that I've spent my life as very much what I like to call a realist, but many other people call it a pessimist. Because I'm like, oh God, the worst has happened. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen. Because I always think, prepare myself, right?
Yes.
I did come to this realization not long ago that sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel is in fact hope. Like sometimes it's not a freight train. Sometimes it's not trying to you over. Sometimes you just are used to only seeing one thing. So that's all you'll see.
Correct.
You're going to have that. I think you're going to have those moments where you're like, oh, I'm so glad I made this decision. I feel great, blah, 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 blah. But you also have to allow yourself to be human and allow yourself to go like, I'm sad sometimes.
I also don't know that you can become the full version of yourself with people who only know an older version of you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like you don't get to keep discovering yourself because you're met with reflections of who you've always been to these people.
Right.
So like sometimes it's good to be like, take a step away. Everybody go live your life. And when you come back, you get to meet them again where they are there.
Right.
As like this new being or whatever that is.
I feel like also like sometimes I preach this over and over, and maybe it's just the way I kind of see it. And then it's like every day we're sort of writing this book, whether it's literally or figuratively. And you get these plot twists where you're like, wait, what do you mean? Like I wasn't ready for this. But you're controlling that narrative, and like you can decide, how am I going to maneuver through this? How am I going to get through? Maybe you'll look at me crazy, but my heart tells me one thing, but I do have to take my head with me. Like I have to.
Can I give you 2 things?
Yes.
So on my journey and in my work now, and I do this with like clients when I'm helping them through things. When I'm helping them through things and to shift. Not just like, because I don't really believe in expectations because you'll always be disappointed. So like lower your expectations, but kind of set the intention that like great things are happening because they are also happening. And like to remember to look for those because you'll find what you're looking for.
Right.
Right. And sometimes our default is the bullshit. Like, and so we find that first. So my thing was for like a year before I even like put my feet on the ground out of the bed, I said, I request the most benevolent outcome for the day. I request the most benevolent outcome. So whoever's available, whatever teams, archangels, if you want to be some aliens like God, whatever it is, whatever you want to call them, I request the most benevolent outcome. And then that turned into, okay, I am ready, willing, and open to seeing how good it can get. Show me.
Right. I mean, and we move through life hoping, I know I hope that I do what's right without trying to be right. Like I can sit up here and preach all day long. My ice should be filled this way and my soda should taste like this and my burrito should look like that. But in reality, this is frying those small fish where I have the opportunity to bitch about it right here. But I would hope that when I move through life, I don't approach everybody so like in a mean way or go, I expect you to do this. I already got it out of my system. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
You're
Like,
talking about it.
don't.
I will say, I have been around you often enough in public that you do not treat people out of sorts.
I hope I do. I hope I start.
They might take it out of
Start being
sorts.
responsible for your damn self. Dearest Delta and Vicky, it's 2025 and the aliens are here.
I tried to tell you.
You did. What are your thoughts on extraterrestrials? Wishing you a year full of love and light, very Pablo.
Come on, Pablo.
I'd love to hear maybe an interesting take that we haven't talked about.
When it comes to aliens, specifically like extraterrestrials, UFOs, UAPs, all of this stuff, I will say that if you do enough reading in other mysticisms, in other mythologies, there's always like a battle in the sky.
Right.
There's always like beings that come down and give a culture information.
Do you think there's people that are like, there's extraterrestrial alien life forms just walking amongst us?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, it is us.
It's
That's
us. We are the aliens.
Yeah,
We are the hybrids.
right. This was fun.
Wasn't it though?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for this conversation.
I mean, it's so weird because we talked about you having your podcast way prior. It's just how interesting that now, like I always say, everybody has a podcast. Everybody has a podcast, but everybody does have something to say. And I think there's room for so many conversations to happen. But I love when sort of worlds collide and when people come together that are like, you know, I love you. I admire you. I know, again, when we talk about writing that book every day, there's people that will disappear. Like they're not in the chapter for a while. And then all of a sudden they come back and it's like, they're not gone forever.
No.
You're just revisiting. And literally people laugh about the pandemic, but the world stopped.
It stopped.
And what we did for a living and how we moved through life and the places we went every Tuesday and every this and every that, like it stopped. It severed. It was no more.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, okay, well, what are you going to do now? Are you going to go work online? Are you doing drag shows online? Are you not doing that? And again, some of those people didn't show back up and maybe they will later. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just grateful that, 49 years on the planet and, I've known you, 15 years and still like the book is still writing itself. Do you know what I mean?
It's really fascinating.
It is fascinating and it's fierce and I'm lucky. I don't even know if lucky's a term. Maybe it's always supposed to be this way.
Well, I think it's important for character development. Sometimes you got to do things for the plot.
Yeah. The movie in your mind.
Yes. Go see how that pans out over there and come back and tell me about it.
Exactly.
But I would like to invite you to a sound bath soon. I would love to love on
that.
you.
Do I have to be
with some
naked
sound.
or the
No,
bath is different?
it's literally just sounds bathing you. You can be just mostly in whatever you're comfortable in.
Where do you do it? On the beach?
I have done sound baths at the beach. I've done them in the forest. I've done them in people's homes. We've done them at community centers, depending on who and what we're serving.
I feel like anything like that, like, ooh, I just get so like, and I say anything like that, I just mean anything unlike what I know.
Yeah.
Takes me to this really emotional place. Like we had our friend Travis here and just the conversation with him, like I was really trying to but I don't know why I was trying to stop feeling that way because I don't think there's anything embarrassing. I think it's enlightening and it feels good to share with other people. Like
you're
susceptible to sharing.
It's just we don't walk around in the world vulnerable.
Right.
And so it's disarming.
Well, also too, like even like just as queer people,
Yeah.
you know, you sort of have to have that. If somebody says something to you, you better have a one up on that because
Yes.
if not, they got me, they got
Yeah.
you, or, you know,
Yes, very much so.
very much so.
But I would love to have you in a space that
I love
I
that.
hold and make sure it's very safe and inclusive and
I love that.
all of this
Thank you.
so that you can literally just come and receive.
Yeah.
You don't have to give or do anything. You don't even have to speak if you don't want to.
Well, I've always received in my life. I've always, in the queer community, I've always been known as a receiver. So I don't think I'd have a hard time with that.
No.
No, I don't think so.
I love you so
here.
much.
I love you. I love
Thank
you.
you, Delta.
Thank you for my gift.
Yes.
It smells so good. I know. Where did I say I was going? Coffee bean and tea leaf after this.
Yes.
When I put my hands to the drive-through, they're going to know. They're going to go, are you the lady with the buoyant breasts who was out in the sun? I knew that was you. I could smell you.
Yeah.
They're going to know it. Thank you so much for being here, Vicky. And thank you for my gifts and for celebrating with me. Today on Very Delta, we learned that every birthday is a time to recognize where you've been and where you're going. And we also have to realize that some people don't make it to the next chapter and some show back up when you least expect them. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week. And until then, keep things very Delta. Very Delta is produced by Moguls of Media, aka Mom. Hosted by Delta Work. Produced and edited by Doug Robertson. Technical direction by Margot Padilla. With original theme music by Will Pitts. Media and design support by Stone Cold. And set design by Eris Sevilla. Executive produced by Alaska, Willem, Big Dipper, Camille Stennis, and Joe Cilio. Recorded at Forever Dog Productions. You like people to beat you up. That's what you want. Just tell me that. You could have booked a video saying, can you please degrade me? And I would have done it. Happily. For the value price of $75. People pay far more than that from me. Far more. Or I wouldn't be able to make my house payment.
Mom!
Watch Very Delta uncensored, ad-free, and a day early by subscribing to Mom Plus Gold. Sign up today at mompodcast.plus for premium content, including weekly episodes of more Very Delta.